The Fall of the House of Usher, another series created by the twisted mind of Mike Flanagan, who has single-handedly for the most part made Netflix one of the best streaming services to find quality horror shows. If you're a fan of them, I'm sure it's safe to say that you've seen at least one of these. And if you haven't, well, we'll just have to change that, like ASAP, after you've seen this review, of course. But anyway, the man is back with another one. The Fall of the House of Usher centers around two siblings, Roderick and Madeline Usher, who have built a pharmaceutical company into an empire of wealth, privilege, and power. However, secrets come to light when the heirs of the Usher dynasty start mysteriously dying off. So I've been a fan of Flanagan's work now since Oculus, and till this day that's probably hands down one of my favorite horror films. And since then, he's had some things I've continued to discover and enjoy a lot, and other things I haven't really cared much for. But overall, in my opinion, the guy has easily had way more wins than losses. And the new Fall of the House of Usher series is a damn home run for his career. I mean shit, this series was so much fun to watch. At the same time, it was so twisted and horrifying and way more gruesome than anything Flanagan has done up to this point. I mean, the deaths in this series versus his other works really can't compare. And I just love the fact that he took it there, and honestly, hell, I can't wait to see more. But the series isn't just a one-trick pony that presents wild, can't look away gruesome death scenes. It's a really intriguing story as well, inspired by quite a few of Edgar Allan Poe's stories. So yeah, don't let the name fool you. Yes, it's called The Fall of the House of Usher, which is one of Edgar Allan Poe's stories, but if you're familiar with his work, then you know that Flanagan's series deviates a lot from the original source material of the same name. Once you've seen the show, I mean. Which I thought was dope, and instead the series pulls from many stories, poems, and characters from Poe's work. This may not even be the full list of inspirations used in the series from Poe's work, which should give you an idea of how much material Flanagan incorporated. And yes, Flanagan has done this before, but I thought the way he brought the stories together for the series so seamlessly was just crazy impressive. They all intertwine in some way throughout the many individual Usher family deaths. And there's also a lot of cool little Easter eggs sprinkled throughout the show as well, showing product placement for Netflix and other stuff like showing Gerald's Game, which was also a Netflix film that was also directed by Flanagan. And there's a lot of little stuff like that you're gonna catch throughout the show. And this is pretty normal for what Netflix considers to be the Flaniverse. That's why we also see a lot of familiar talents throughout the series who have previously worked with Flanagan as well. But I have to say that although everyone was pretty much great performance-wise in the show, Mark Hamill and Carla Gugino were the big highlights for me personally, but even more so Carla Gugino, because holy shit what a presence she was. I mean yo, this woman was a force throughout the series, literally and figuratively. Her monologues didn't bore me not once, and she truly just sold the character for me. I feel like I could have watched a mini-series where we just take a deep dive into that character's history. And no worries, I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, but her character has a lot of history surrounding her, and you find out about that history later towards the show's conclusion. There was obviously a lot that Flanagan wanted to say to the world in this series, because it touches on so many themes from political to the rich versus the poor, sacrifice and morality. Sometimes subtle and then sometimes in your face, but it does work for this show. So this is supposed to be the conclusion of Mike Flanagan's multi-year deal with Netflix, and apparently the plan is to head over to Amazon and give them some better content in this genre, which honestly I'd say they could definitely use it. I mean, what they got, Invincible and The Boys, but come on, I mean, we need some good horror stuff over there, so they could use Mike Flanagan's help. And of course, I don't really care where the man ends up as long as we can continue to get some great work from him in the future. So I'm giving The Fall of the House of Usher an 8.5 out of 10. This series is a huge indicator of Flanagan's growth and progress in his craft, because it still has his signature all over the material as you watch it, but it goes a step farther with everything: storytelling, horror, themes, the deaths, the kills, I mean everything. And I always love the subtle, distant Mike Flanagan scares where there's something creepy far away from the camera that you can't quite make out, and then once you see it, you're like, oh shit, it's been staring back at me this whole time. And there's a good amount of that mixed in here with your occasional jump scare scare here and there. And there's some gruesome kills, as I've already mentioned, for members of the Usher family, combined with some great acting, musical scores, and cinematography that just made this series such a joy to watch. I mean, I really could go into a lot more detail regarding the artistic aspects of this series that I loved and how it kept me engaged basically the whole time in the mystery, but I'll leave it to you guys to check it out when it releases on Netflix on October 12th. And there you have it. So if you enjoyed the content, as always, you know what to do. Thank you for watching.